I'll kick us off.
All
Hello,
right.
how you doing? My name is Leon Walker Mentz, and I'm one of the managing partners of the Helios Group, and we specialize in the cleaning and restoration industry. What we do is develop perks and benefits for all of the IICRC, including employee benefits, business insurance, and technology. But our number one goal, our number one job, is to work hard for you. We work hard for every IICRC certified firm that wants to engage with us. And we've been working with firms for the last past year and a half all across North America and doing, just so humbled and so happy that, we have this partnership. And so for today's webinar, we're going to focus on three things. Number one, we're going to review the program and how it stands today. We're going to highlight Jennifer, our specialist in business insurance. And then we're going to do a Q&A. Look out for us. We'll be at Restore in Anaheim, June 17th through 19th. And we'll be at the Experience Conference in Vegas, September 4th through 6th. So if you're there, please hang out with us, have a beer or two, and I'll kick it off to Joe.
Thanks so much, Leon. Thanks everyone for joining. We really look forward to just delivering an exciting message to you here over the next 20, 25 minutes or so. What you have on your screens right now is just a glimpse of our team. And what the Helios Group is at its core is a collective of specialists spread across the country that are experts in their field. And we're all here to serve specifically the cleaning and restoration industry, more specifically, IICRC certified firms exclusively. And that's how everything that we do is designed to cater towards the small but growing businesses of this sector. So what you're seeing on your screen, of course, is Leon and I. Our benefit consultants and account managers are in the middle. Leon and I at 12 or 13 years in are the rookies on our team. Everybody's got twice as much experience as us even. So you're not getting people who are kind of like fresh off the block by any stretch. I want to highlight Eric Tavares. He is one of our 3 bilingual benefit counselors. So we certainly have that capability. And then our directors of our programs here across the bottom, Jerry, our director of technology, Holly Marita, our director of employee benefits. And the belle of today's ball, Jennifer Sterling, our director of business insurance. We are thrilled to be introducing her today. And you guys are going to be wowed by her expertise in this field. I assure you it's going to be like nothing you've ever heard before from your local agent. And she may look familiar to you. Jennifer, where might people have crossed paths with you over the last 10 years or so?
Well, hello. Thank you all for having me today. My name is Jennifer Sterling. I'm with JM Sterling Insurance Services, and we are proud to partner with the IICRC, who has been around for almost 50 years, but have been around almost 20 years with experience in the fire water restoration industry. I might have been seen at Crawford, Nexus, Lackady, the experience. Uh, I was serving on the IAQA executive board for several years, and I'm very excited to partner with the Helios Group. We bring a national presence as a firewater restoration contractor expert when it comes to your insurance. So when it comes to your general liability, pollution, professional, your workers' comp, that's an awful thing to deal with these days, and as well as your auto. We are a full service agency. I know a lot of you guys are using local agencies, and that's great, but they just don't know this industry, and it's ever changing and very demanding. And we can help you. We pride ourselves in great service. I still try to answer the phone on the third ring, and we get all these detailed certificate insurance requirements out on your COIs on the same day. So, as for an agency that some of the things that they're looking for right away, I know a lot of you folks have been out there with a local agent. I've actually been told before, oh, don't do mold because there's just no insurance for that. And it's really, really expensive. They just don't know what they don't know. So we're excited to talk about that today.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you so much.
yeah, thank you, Jennifer. And that's what I was getting at. You may have seen her. Jennifer's a veteran of the trade show circuit, so you probably attended any of those in the last decade or so. You've probably seen her. So Jennifer's no stranger to this industry at all. So I'm going to cut to the chase here in 2 slides. This is just a scattering of some of the IICRC firms we've worked with. I don't think I've updated this since the winter time here, but if you're on this call, you may see your logo on here already. So Thank you so much for working with us. You're familiar with our routine. Jennifer is. I want to shine a spotlight on her again here. A new addition to the Helios collective here and bringing that business insurance expertise. Most of what we've been doing so far has been focused on employee benefits, and that's been really exciting. Bringing that communication to your employees one at a time. And I'll share kind of the secret sauce behind that, like how we're able to do some things that your agents aren't. But let's just get right to Jennifer here. And Jennifer, we're just going to do a little Q&A. You already touched on a couple of things there, but I want to do a little role play with you here, Jennifer. So
Okay, let's deep
I'm
dive. I'm ready.
I'm the IICRC certified firm.
Okay.
I've been around the block myself, but Jennifer, why would you claim you're a specialist? Why would I work with you? Like, I've been with my local agent for a few years. He took me to a ball game once. He sent me a Subway gift card. Like, I
Such a
don't know,
nice guy.
aren't I in a good spot already?
Sure. Now, there are some local agents back in the day, if they were specialists for homeowners, if one of their insureds got a phone call with a leak, they were able to just say, "Oh, my friend Joe, who's also one of my insureds, he could give him the lead." That's not happening as frequently as it used to do back in the olden days because now we have TPAs, third party administrators, and the agent doesn't really have the authority to give away the claim. It has to go through a whole cycle, right? And now we have the TPAs involved. So, one of the reasons why I think it's really important that you work with someone that's specific to this industry, because your local agents don't know that there's actually packages out there that actually cover you for everything you're doing in one ball of wax. For instance, if you're a general liability contractor, you have a contractor and you're a GL carrier and you have a GL policy, maybe they left off the part that you're doing mold. Maybe they didn't tell them that it's not just water extracting. Maybe you're doing pack outs. Maybe you're doing radon. Maybe you're now taking on crime scene. So all of this coverages back in the late 80s was covered under your general liability. But what happened was a bunch of folks had homeowners policies and they found out that there weren't any exclusions. So they took their pool sticks, knocked down that cottage cheese, and sprinkled asbestos all over their soft goods. Well, you can't clean it. It must be abated. So those carriers paid out for everyone to get new clothes and couches and new carpet. And the carrier said, well, we're not going to let that happen again. So what they did on the general liability, they changed the actual ISO form and they did what they call a total pollution exclusion. Now, the definition of that is anything to do with a liquid, solid, or gas is not covered. But if you slip and broke a vase or scratched a wood floor, your general liability would likely cover that. But for guys that are doing restoration, you basically have no coverage for the work you're actually doing. Because if you broke the vase, you'd likely not report it. You'd just say the lady's lying and you'd give her a new vase or you'd pay for it. So what happened was the carriers got nil of excluding everything. So what happened was they started selling contractors pollution liability policies. Now that's everything to do with a liquid, solid, or gas. So if a HEPA bag blows or you don't suck up all the water and you said you did, and 4 months later the lady says my kid's got asthma and we can't breathe, and they open that drywall and there you go, there's even one mold spore. Typically it would be excluded on the GL, but in my case, our packages pick up that pollution portion. So the package policies include GL, pollution, and professional. And guess what? I can get that on a flat rate without an audit. So that is good to know. Um, if you want to get a flat rate, it's based on your projected gross net revenue. So let's say you guys are going to do 800,000. That's what you project. You do 1.4. Well, guess what? At the end of that policy period, they're not going to be able to come back and say, yo, you owe us on that other 500,000 you made in revenue. We're going to charge you more premium. They agreed to a flat rate. You get that policy for a flat rate, no audit. And then there you go. And you're covered for general liability, pollution liability, and they sprinkle in professional liability. So if you're out there giving your opinion, good advice, bad advice, read the scope wrong, that's professional liability. So that's also included. Some might think, wow, for all this coverage with a flat rate, no audit, it must be more expensive. No, these packages that we have access to as a national broker, we know the carriers that offer that, and that's where we go right away. Um, just so you know, you guys, we're down to maybe 4 or 5 carriers that are actually willing to write a firewater restoration guy because you have such broad exposure. You're doing sometimes the water mitigation, you're doing the mold remediation, you're doing the pack out for the Bailey's coverage or the contents. You might be doing, the build back, which includes all that different construction for the plumbing, the electrical, all again, that would be included in a general liability policy. And also to know, once those particular few carriers take your package, they'll be willing to also take a look at your workers' comp and your auto. We all know workers' comp is crazy, what class codes to use. Some local agents might not know what class codes to use. So they might shove you in carpentry. But if you ask me, that's a very expensive class code for your technician that might only be doing water extracting. So we're very familiar with workers' comp as well. And we know how to make sure when it's time to do that workers' comp audit at the end of the year, I will help you make sure that you are not paying more than you should. So those are just a few of our little caveats.
Wonderful. And just lovely talking to you, Jennifer, and understanding the risk that you know how to insure. Like, what are some of these common mistakes you see for small firms in the industry?
That is a very good question. And I have a few funny ones that I share over and over because they're very um, understandable. So, one time I had a guy who got a small business loan with Wells Fargo, and he thought he'd use the Wells Fargo insurance department to get his insurance. And he took his 18 wheeler to chase a storm filled with all of his beautiful equipment. He had all of his dehues and his air movers and all of his scrubbers and his Odorox machines, and he headed out to chase that storm. And he stayed on that storm for a couple weeks, like you guys all do. And as the storm subsided and things started drying out, they started returning that equipment. He started putting it back in the 18 wheeler. And lo and behold, he finally decided he could finally go home for the weekend. He went home, came back, and guess what? The 18 wheeler was empty. All of that equipment was gone. Went ahead, called his local agent to submit a claim for his missing equipment. And the girl was super sweet and said, "Oh, well, did they break into the building? Did the alarm go off? Did the police come? Did they catch him?" And he's like, "Well, no, because it was at the storm in another state." And she said, "Oh, I think we have coverage for if it leaves and you were in transport." And he said, "What do you mean? I wasn't leaving. It's equipment that gets on the road and is always out on the road." And she said she was really super sorry because he had no coverage because she had written it as business personal property, which is equipment that stays inside the warehouse, not equipment that you leave. So that poor fella, although he was paying premium for a policy because that agent was not in the know of the business, he had no coverage. That's one really simple claim. Um, I had another simple claim recently, yesterday, Friday, in New York. Two guys went on a job site while all the guys were at lunch, picked up the hard hat, acted like they were working, picked up a tool, pretended like they fell through a hole. They both left in the ambulance as the guys were all coming back from lunch. So they didn't fall. They just took advantage of an unsecure job site. So that is going to end up being a workers' comp claim for that poor big guy that was running that big job site in New York. That is a claim. So secure your job sites. Secure your vehicles, secure your equipment. Technicians, don't be leaving the truck open, wide open, with a $3,000 DHU sitting in the back. That's not covered under an auto claim. It won't be covered. Another one had a guy that used a subcontractor, spur of the moment. The house caught on fire. Contractor calls me from the truck. He's super excited. He tells me he's on a fire job. I'm excited for him. However, they started the fire. What happened was there was a pony wall. Everybody wants a grand room now. The fire burned that wall. The lady said, "Take out that wall." So what does he do? He calls a sub. As quick as possible, the sub shows up. Sub goes and cuts the wall out. Uh, and apparently, when the guys all came back from lunch, his guys, he went to cut the wall out. and the house caught on fire. So my contractor calls me and says, "I'm gonna report a claim." And I said, "Tell me everything before we do that." And he tells me that it was a plumber, and he called the plumber and he got there right away. And I said, "Please tell me you got something in writing. If you're bored, you should know. Every policy says that anybody you use as a sub or that's working on your behalf must have the same limits or better of insurance because they want his insurance to pay for it. So not only are you required to have everything by written contract, if you're bored, read your policy, you are also supposed to make sure they have the same limits or better by getting a certificate of insurance. And I can give you all different ways that you can make sure that subs insurance is going to pay by putting special wording in that description box, similar to the wording that you guys agree to before you get to work on a job. I'm going to teach you guys how to transfer the risk to the other guy. So this poor fella, I said, "Did you tell me you got something in writing?" I can hear him in his truck unwadding a piece of paper, trying to tell me. And all it said was, "Agree on this day to remove the 5 foot of gas line, pressure test it and remove debris." Well, I said, "Oh my gosh, we got him. Let's not report it to our carrier. Let's go report it to his carrier. Please tell me you have a COI. And please tell me that you have a subcontractor agreement." He had not gotten a COI that day. However, he went back from 6 months prior. On that subcontractor agreement, he had made sure the insurance requirements were in that contract, and that did hold up. So when you become our insured, we look at everything. We make sure you're using the right sub agreement, the right certificate insurance requirements. We make sure that your policies have the right name. A lot of you guys are using DBAs now. You've changed the name. You're using acronyms. Let's make sure the policies are all the same. And some of you have dates that don't coincide with one another. So let's get that organized. Let our agency give you the peace of mind that I know you need. You guys are very busy out there trying to bid jobs, get technicians to work, make sure the equipment's working, make sure your materials are there, make sure the adjusters show up, make sure you have inspections, make sure you have permits. Let us do the part that you don't need to worry about. Let us help you.
All right, Jennifer. So you almost got me convinced here. So I'm going to step out of the role play for a sec, just in case anyone on here joined us late. You're broadcasting live today as the Helios Group. We're introducing our newest partner, Jennifer Sterling, industry veteran in business insurance. We handle all your insurance needs. We specialize in cleaning and restoration. So I'm going to get to our contact info and how to reach out to us in just a minute here. Let me do a time check. All right, 21 after. Jennifer, you got 3 minutes to convince me the rest of the way. So we're jumping back into role play. You seem like a sharp gal. Seem like you don't miss much. All right, so let's talk timing. My last two questions were all around timing. Can you talk about the service model specifically? Like, I need those certs quick. Like, I'm getting them in, they come in a few days. I can't wait any longer than that. What's your routine there?
There's no such thing as a few days on your COIs, you guys. I know those COIs need to get out the day you get the phone ringing. So we're going to make sure you get your COIs within an hour or so. And some of them are very complicated COIs with specific wording, especially if you're working with the TPAs or any of the franchisors. We know the wording, we know how they want it, we know where they need to go. COIs are not an issue. When it comes to your renewals and your endorsements, we try to turn those and burn those really quick also. If it's up for renewal, try to give us 90 days, you guys. I mean, it's crazy. I know your other brokers who are waiting on a wholesaler and da 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 da. If you get us our information quickly, we can put it out to those 5 carriers and do all the shopping for you. That's not your headache, that's a broker's headache. So if you get us stuff in a timely manner, that gives us time to like play the carriers against each other, review the quotes, add our little secret sauce, and get them to pin and get us the best price with the broadest coverage. That's another thing. You guys, if you're working with a local agent, that's great. They might have 1 or 2 restoration guys out there. So they don't go to that market very often. Where for me, it's kind of like if you guys go to Home Depot and you always get your supplies at Home Depot. Do you think when you finally have to go to the supply house, they're just going to give you the killer deal? You never go there only when you need something at last minute. So when you're a broker that's familiar with this industry, I'm constantly working with these guys daily. So it's very easy for me to say, like, oh, this is the carrier. Wow, they put this weird exclusion on here. We never get that exclusion for our insureds. So even though you might have the best carrier of the five, you might not have all the bells and whistles because your agent didn't know to ask for them.
All
Wow.
right, Jennifer. So I'm convinced. Now I'm in. I think you got it. I think you can take care of me here.
Okay.
And all right, like I get it. Can't be last minute. Fine. You need more than a couple days notice. All right, all right. So my stuff renews in December. What can I start working with you now? Like you got a good routine. Can I flip this mid-year? What can I do?
Absolutely. A lot of times what we like to do is get to know you in December. We might find out we're not a good fit. I mean, I tend to be very brutally honest. I don't sugarcoat anything. There will be no fluffy emails. It will be like, look, you need to do this, this, and this. This is your punch list. I talk turkey with you guys. I know contractors better than all. I know how you like your business to be ran. So I'm going to give you the same respect. If you want to get the best price, give us the best amount of time. If you don't renew till December, let's reach out. Let's do an analysis. Maybe we need to pull the trigger and rewrite everything because you don't even know you have a pollution exclusion. And believe me, I see that every day. I just had one yesterday where they were like, "What do you mean we don't have mold coverage? That's what we do." And I said, "Yeah, right here. They don't know that you do that." And they said, "Well, how do you know they don't know that we don't do that and it's not covered?" I said, "Because I know that carrier doesn't write environmental and they don't include mold. So sometimes I can look at stuff in November that doesn't renew till June and we can start our strategy, especially if you have dates that are different dates. And we're going to start with the workers' comp date and work around that date so we can get you a good experience rating modification so you can pay less money. So, yes, you can reach out to me now. I'd rather have what you have now and know as it comes up and creeping up, we're not being last minute Larry. We got a few Larrys, but I'm going to set you straight if you're a Larry. So that's what we bring to the table.
I don't want to be last minute Larry. Okay, I appreciate that. Jennifer, thank you so much. Everyone, I hope you found that portion very intriguing. I hope you heard some things you hadn't heard before from your local agent. If you're a new IICRC certified firm or a startup company just getting started, you're starting in a great spot here. We can certainly help you out with that. So I want to run through a couple slides for the rest of our program. And Leon, I think he's got some stuff he wants to say here as well. So speaking really quickly to the newest, smallest firms, this is our bread and butter. This is what Leon and I and our team have been doing for well over a decade. It's trying to make you an employer of choice. If all things are equal and a prospective employee is looking at two employers to work for, and they're choosing between employer A and employer B, we want to make you employer B because 9 times out of 10, that's who the employee is going to choose. Someone with some sort of benefit package on the menu. And we've got a great place to start sometimes with some of those ancillary benefits. Everybody wants dental. That's what everybody asks for usually first time they call. I need better dental and vision. I need some disability. Great. Like we've got those options for you. And it's going to beat whatever you've already seen locally because, and I mentioned I was going to share the secret sauce, is because we're leveraging your relationship, your membership of the IICRC. We work with carriers that are going to look at the IICRC as a whole. That's it. That's the secret
So
sauce.
we negotiated these rates on the back end so that you on the front end can reap the rewards of them.
And we have a medical program for you as well. Whether you're already offering health insurance or you want to explore that lane, again, that's a big part of what we do as well, too. We've got wonderful opportunities for you, strong national networks. You're going to be able to reduce costs. But really, folks, where we make a difference on the benefits side, anybody can quote, anybody can get your rates. We do education all the way down to the employee level. And that second slide with the logos on it, any one of those firms, certified firms can tell you, we educate all their employees on the spot, making sure everyone is making the best decision for themselves and their families. We work evenings, we work weekends, so spouses or significant others can be involved in that conversation. It's what we do best. It's what we've been doing for a really long time. And that's a service that's tough to find. It might be out there, but we sure as heck haven't come across anybody else doing it. So that's a big part of what we do as well too, is that education and then the service year round as well. Um,
It,
Go ahead, Leon.
I just want to say, is there any questions? We talked a lot. Just want to know if there's any questions, comments that you guys want to bring up. Or you have us on the line here.
And I'm going to share too how people can reach us here too.
So, if I can interject about the benefits that you're offering, how great that is for small mom and pop businesses that may or may not be ready to pull their health insurance benefits, but want to make sure that they take good care of their employees. I cannot preface enough with how many Monday morning workers' comp claims we see because the guy goes snowboarding or is playing soccer, he has no health insurance, and he waits till he gets to work to report it as a workers' comp claim because he knows then he can go to the doctors. If you can figure out a way to get with the Helios group and have them give you a quote just to see what that would look like, think about the benefits from the employee's perspective. It really will enhance the employee retention. Takes a long time to train these guys what to do. So if you can get a guy to stay because you offer him a catastrophic policy for health insurance and it costs you a couple $100 a month, it is well worth it. They will stay with you longer. You will increase your employee retention. And not to mention which is most important, that it'll avoid an unnecessary workers' comp claim, which will stay on your record for 4 years, increasing your workers' comp premium.
High five, Jennifer. That was awesome. So you guys kind of saw where I went to in the background here. Everybody knows the IICRC homepage. Shout out to Angelina Dixon, the new marketing manager at IICRC, for setting this up for us. But hover over certified firms, just like you've probably done a ton of times before. Click on certified firms. Scroll down just a little bit. What are the benefits? Check out our business insurance program. Click here. Boom. And so I just put this in the chat as well. So the URL is right there. Here's your boys, Leon and Joe. If you click on experience, this gives you links to our website, to our calendar, so you can schedule time with us. All our contact information will be within this as well too. So 2:30 on the nose. I think we're right up against it here.
We do have a question from Fiona. She's asking if it's available in Canada.
We do have some programs in Canada. Please reach out to us so we can connect you to the right people.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, and let's see. Do we have any more questions? Either thoughts, questions, concerns, compliments?
Well, I have a second to kill. I'm just going to throw in, y'all. Right now, you are seeing a huge epidemic in finding insurance for property across the country, as well as commercial auto. If you're a small fleet or you're in a location demographically that the carriers are not interested in, that should tell you that you should tighten up your bootstraps with your auto. Be very careful who you're letting drive your vehicles. Run motor vehicle reports every 6 months. Look and see if they have speeding intent. It doesn't matter if it was while they weren't working. It shows a lot how they're driving when they're in their own personal vehicles. Don't let people take vehicles home. Make sure your passengers are assisting your drivers. Help them park. Don't let them play on Instagram. Make that passenger that's with the driver, help them park, help them find the address, help them back up. Let's do everything you can to avoid a workers' comp claim because they're canceling everybody like a hot potato. And units are going from 3 to 4,000 a unit to 6 and 8,000 a unit. That is a significant increase. So do everything you can to not report an auto claim, and do everything you can to manage the people you're letting drive your vehicles.
It's great advice.
Yeah.
I don't let anybody drive my car.
There you go. You think about it. You got a guy that gets out of his, Honda Accord, and then you put him in a 14,000 gross vehicle weight box truck, so you just got to make sure it's a good fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also know if any of your employees get in an automobile accident, whether it's their fault or not, if they are injured, it is a workers' comp claim. So safety, safety. Don't let them jump out of the back. Make them step off the little step out of the cab. Don't let them lift the big dehumidifier by themselves. Let's avoid those workers' comp claims as well.
And, Don Bice actually has a question here. He's asking, do you cover commercial vehicle insurance as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Any more questions from
A
our?
shout out to Christian and Dawn, who are some of our new insureds that I think are on here. They're in the audience. I think, thank you for reaching out to us and us being able to help you guys out.
And looking like we're not getting any more questions here. Was there anything else that you needed to add or wanted to include?
I'm going to go ahead and add a helpful tip, and that is regarding workers' comp. This is the summer months we're coming into. So, not that I need to remind you, but please make sure you're keeping your employees hydrated, making sure you're keeping water on the job sites, you're making sure that they're taking their breaks, that they're not staying in containment too long. These all can turn into workers' comp claims unnecessarily. So, safety, safety, safety. It's all what you guys already know, but it's all about conditioning, and kind of like when the techs walk out the door, you give them another gentle reminder. Take your breaks, drink lots of water, make it available if you need to, especially if they're in containment.
All right, Gavin, thank you so much. Thanks for letting us host.
I'm glad to
Wonderful
have you
see
guys.
everyone. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Glad
Thank
to
you.
have you
Awesome. Thank
guys.
you so much. Looking forward to hearing from you guys.
I always appreciate you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Anaheim. I'll be there next month.
Yes, and we will be in booth 530. If you please come by, booth 530.
Oh,
I think I'm giving away a nice bottle of brandy.
hey, cool. I'll stop by. I'll drop my business card in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys.
Bye-bye now.
Appreciate everything you do. Let me
Thank
know.
you.
And of course, this will end the webinar for May. If anybody does have any IICRC related questions, you can always reach out to me, first initial last name at iicrcnet.org. Just like our domain for any of our general contact lines, just my first initial G, last name McMahon, McMahon. You're welcome to reach out. You can also give us a call on our primary line, 844-464-4272. And then ask for me by name. I'll be happy to help you with anything you have questions about as well, or at least putting you in contact with the right people who do have the right information. So I appreciate all the attendees for coming out, and sorry for the technical issues we were having with our original schedule, but I'm glad we were able to get this done by the end of the month, and be on the lookout for the one in June.
We'll be ready
Thank you.
for you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.